I want to ask you one question and I need you to answer me honestly. Please do not lie to me, okay? When was the last time you sat down with a book in your hands and read for 30 minutes? If you ask me, I still remember the last time. It was this morning. What about you? Without checking your phone, without stalking your crush, without doing anything else that's distracting. The book that I have in my hands is not the one I'm currently reading, but I just want to share it with you. It's The Essential Kafka by Franz Kafka. And it's a collection of his texts: Trial, The Castle, Metamorphosis, Letter to My Father, and other stories. So I'm very excited to start reading it. But for now, I'm reading Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari, I don't know. A Brief History of Humankind. This is such an interesting and insightful book. Right now, I'm at page 200. The book is quite long. It has over 500 pages, so I'm being patient with it because I'm gonna be honest with you. I love reading. I'm a bookaholic, but still, I don't quite enjoy books that are pretty long unless the book is very impressive and interesting and doesn't make me feel bored. By the way, I bought this bookmark recently. I don't know if you can read it. Can you? Shh, I'm reading. That's what it says. Like, do not disturb me. When I'm reading, do not talk to me, please. I'm not being rude, but I just love being immersed in the book that I'm reading and I don't want any distractions around me, okay? And that's one of the things we will also address in this video in order for you to start reading, because I want you to start reading. I know you love buying a lot of books, but you don't necessarily read them. You're like a book hoarder. What does this mean? It means someone who loves buying and collecting books without necessarily reading them. There is another word which describes this perfectly well. It's a Japanese word, tsondoku. Tsondoku? I don't know. It means someone who keeps piling up books but they don't read them. That's you, right? And as a professor at university and not just someone who loves reading, I notice this all the time. Some of my students love spending that money on books, but they never read them. And for some of them, it became a trend rather than a habit because they see everyone on social media doing this performative habit of pretending to read a book just to get some attention. And there are some of them who never buy a book. Yes. There is this huge problem of reading that we're not talking about. And this hurts me deeply because I know you guys have a beautiful brain and you need to sharpen it with reading. You need to cultivate yourself and expand your knowledge. You just don't know the right methods or systems that you need to follow in order to become a reader. That's why today in this video, I'm not just going to keep talking about why you don't read. No, I want to give you something practical. I just need you to give me 7 days, please, just 7 days and 10 minutes a day. That's it. I'm going to show you a simple system that you can follow in order to start reading consistently again. And the good news is that you can start it today, okay? So let's begin. The first rule is very simple. Make reading ridiculously easy. Sometimes I see people who have stopped reading for a long time and they want to go back to their reading habit. They're like, I want to start reading again. Okay, that's good news. Go ahead. But then they choose the most difficult book to read. Or they choose a book with like 700 pages or a philosophy book about, let's say, Stoicism, which is very complex and hard to understand. Then they go through the first 20 pages and then they're bored. And they just like put down the book and they come to the conclusion that they can't read and they will never be able to read. You know, the thing is that you don't really hate reading. No, you hate that book. And it's okay to hate books sometimes. We're not supposed to love all books out there. So for this 7-day challenge, I want you to choose a book that you genuinely want to read. Forget about those books that you should read. If you like thrillers, read a thriller. If you love fantasy, go for it. If you love nonfiction, self-development books, start reading them. If it's a short book, it's even better. For example, I really enjoyed reading Notes from Underground by Fyodor Dostoevsky. It only has like 130 pages because right now we're not trying to impress anyone, okay? We don't care because we are trying to build a habit. Once you've chosen a book that you genuinely want to read, here's the second part of the rule. I want you to start reading this book for 10 minutes a day. Only 10 minutes a day. Not 50 pages. You don't have to finish a chapter. We don't care about that. Just set a timer on your phone for 10 minutes and start reading. When the timer goes off, you are allowed to stop reading. However, if you're genuinely enjoying while reading this book, keep reading. You can keep reading for 30 minutes, even for an hour. But here's the important part. If today you want to read more than 10 minutes, that's fine. I allow you to do this, okay? But the next day, your minimum goes back to 10 minutes again, okay? You don't have to read for another hour just because you read for 1 hour the day before. No, it doesn't work like that. Because that's how you stop reading. You make it feel like it's a responsibility. I want reading to feel so easy for you that even on your busiest days, you will say, okay, I can spare 10 minutes for this book. Actually, let's help each other. I want you to write in the comments right now one book that you can't put down, that you genuinely love and that you're addicted to. This way, I'm going to use your comments in order to build a reading list that we can all use. Another thing that I want to tell you, you are allowed to quit a book. If you're 100 pages into a certain book and then you realize that it makes you feel bored, or that you hate that book, you are allowed to stop reading it. You are allowed to quit. You're not married to this book. You are allowed to break up with this book. You can stop reading it. Simple as that. Maybe in 5 years, you will go back to this book and love it even more, and maybe you won't. And that's completely fine. What I don't want you to feel is this sense of guilt that you bought this book and it's sitting next to your bed and you're unable to read it because you're not enjoying it. So you start forcing yourself to read the book, even if you hate it. And that's why you stop reading. Simple as that. I hate this book. I'm gonna throw it away. I'm not gonna read it. I'm so sorry, Edward Said. I really apologize. I do love your book. I was just giving you an example, guys. But I just want to make it clear to you that your goal for these 7 days is much simpler. To just choose something that you enjoy, read it for 10 minutes for 7 days, and that's it. Make it easy for yourself to come back to the book the next day. Make distractions hard. I'm not going to throw my phone, of course, but you know what I mean. But like if I keep my phone next to me while I'm reading a book and then I receive a text from my husband, of course I'm gonna look at it. Like, look at him, he's very handsome, right? So you probably know this, okay? But I just want to remind you that while reading your book, put your phone face down or in another room, because sometimes you don't need to receive a notification necessarily from your husband, from your crush, from your bestie, but you just check your phone unconsciously. So at least during those 10 minutes, I want you to put your phone away from you. Put it in a bag, throw it away, I don't care. We just need to keep all distractions away from us and slightly more difficult to reach. And at the same time, I want you to make reading easier for you. If you want to read on the couch with your morning coffee like me, I completely understand you. Then put the book somewhere where you can clearly see it. If you want to read on your commute, then put the book in a bag the night before. The rule is simple. Make the book easy to reach and the phone difficult to reach. There is another problem that really annoys me. A lot of people, when I tell them you should start reading, they tell me I'll read when I have the time. When exactly will you have the time? Don't lie to yourself. You will always have something else to do, like cooking, working, texting your crush, watching Netflix, I don't know what. There's always going to be something which competes for that time. You need to make time for reading, okay? I'm not going to lie to you. And a good way to do this is to attach this reading habit to something that you do every day already. Like you take your morning coffee every day, then you will say, tomorrow after my morning coffee, I'm going to read for 10 minutes. Tomorrow before sleeping, I'm going to read for 10 minutes. What is something you do every day? Do you eat every day? Yes. Do you cook every day? Probably not. I don't know. Just attach reading to something you do every day. And now you don't need to wait for motivation to fall from the sky. No, because you already decided in your mind that reading will be part of your routine. Make yourself want to come back. now we get to the rule that I think will turn these 7 days into something that you will continue doing afterward. You need to make yourself want to come back to the book. And here is one simple way to do this that I do myself. When you reach the end of a chapter, don't stop there. No, continue reading and read the first 2 pages, 1 or 2 pages of the next chapter, and then stop there. I know that sounds strange because normally in our heads, it's very normal to stop at the end of each chapter and then start another chapter from 0 the next day. But this is exactly the problem, especially when you want to make reading a habit again, because if you finish with a chapter, then you're not that curious about the next chapters. But I also want you to do something else. Before you walk away from a book, ask yourself this question. What is one thing I remember from what I just read? Then write 1 sentence immediately. I'm not asking for a book review or an essay or anything like that. Just 1 sentence. If you're reading fiction, maybe it's something important that happened to one character. But if you're reading nonfiction, maybe you've encountered a certain idea that you consider or you deem important. This should take you 1 minute, right? And after 7 days, you will have 7 sentences. You can look back at them and actually see what you remember, because the goal is not to just move our eyes across pages of a certain book. No. The goal is to remember what we read. I'm not saying you need to remember everything. We can't. And there are some books that are pretty overwhelming and that contain so many information. I just want you to remember something at least from this book. And that brings me to something else that I want to stress. Stop counting books. You don't need to read 50 books a year in order to feel like that you're a reader. You don't need to read a book every week. You don't need to compete with somebody else online who apparently reads 120 books a year. Reading is not a competition. You can read 120 books a year, but you can barely remember them. Or you could read only 5 books that you genuinely love and that change the way you think. So during this challenge, I don't want you to ask yourself this boring question of how many books can I finish? Ask yourself this most brilliant question. Can I make reading a normal part of my routine of my life again? Because that's what we're actually trying to build here, okay? Not someone who reads 120 books a year or 50 books a year and they don't even remember them. That does not impress me at all. Not someone who owns a beautiful bookshelf behind them and they don't even care about it. We're trying to build someone who can consistently read and come back to their books. That's the most important idea I want you to remember from this whole entire challenge. Finishing the book isn't the habit, but coming back to the book is the habit. So if you're doing this challenge with me, I want you to comment day 1 in order to see how many of us will actually make it to day 7. Also, tell me what book you're starting with. And if you don't want to start reading right now, it's perfectly fine. Just tell me the genre that you want to read. And please come back to this video in 7 days and reply to your comment with I did it. And remember, the goal is not to read 50 or 100 pages. The goal is to make of you a reader again, okay? So if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, because that helps me so much. And I love when you engage with my videos, you guys. And that also helps me so much to keep up and keep creating content for you guys and address more interesting videos. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video.